Bye!
Hey, wait a minute!
I shook off my husband and jumped into the car. My husband spread his arms in front of the car, as if to say,
If you were going to go, you'll have to knock me down first.
This guy is such a narcissist. I had noticed it before, but I didn't know it was this bad. I rolled down the car window, and my husband turned his teary eyes toward me. Take care. I stepped on the gas and took off. I'm Leah. I am 30 years old, and I work for a trading company. The company recently introduced remote work. Thanks to that, I can smoothly do my work from home every day. On the other hand, my husband Wade, whom I married 3 years ago, works in sales. Therefore, it is impossible for him to work from home, and he goes to work at the same time every morning. I met my husband through a mutual friend, and he is a divorced man who works for one of the famous enterprises in town. When I first met him, I was impressed by his youthful and refreshing appearance, which made me think he wasn't in his 40s. Our hometowns are both in the countryside, and we can't go back there so often. But during the holiday season, we always go to my husband's parents' house together.
Speaking of which, on our next visit, don't forget to prepare something nice for my mom, okay?
I'm dissatisfied with my husband's words. He takes it for granted that I will prepare souvenirs for his parents every time. It was the same the last summer. The problem is not that he leaves everything to me. Just as he has parents, I have parents who have taken good care of me. However, my husband only cares about his own parents, which creates feelings of inequality and dissatisfaction. Since we got married, he has never visited my parents' house, and he never talks about them either. In the midst of all this, he even leaves it to me to prepare souvenirs for his parents.
So, what did you get for my parents as a souvenir this time?
As soon as he got home from work, he asked me. I got a box of Associate chocolates.
I think fruits would be better.
Why? Your parents really like sweets, don't they? I'm being careful not giving them the same thing every time, so it's not a problem.
Well, I don't like chocolate.
Huh? Whether you like it or not doesn't matter. This is a souvenir for your parents, I was thinking to myself.
But I can't eat chocolate. I wish you had bought something we could all share.
I know.
Why don't you send that chocolate to your parents? And you go shopping again tomorrow. This time, get something better, okay?
Although my husband usually doesn't care about my parents at all, he mentioned their names this time. Of course, I know he doesn't really care about my parents. And now he wants me to go shopping again. That's not fair. I have a job too. I bought the souvenir for his parents during my lunch break. Shouldn't be the first word be thank you instead? I was really mad. I'm not going.
What? Why?
Because I have work to do.
But you're working from home, right?
You have time, don't you? You are the one who works in sales and goes out, right? Isn't it easier for you to go and buy something then?
What? I wouldn't do something like that. It's unprofessional.
Really? When we were dating, you left work several times to come and see me, didn't you?
Well, at that time, I was young and...
I don't know what kind of excuse that is, but Anyway, I won't go shopping anymore. If you don't like what I chose, then go buy something yourself.
Okay.
Then chocolate is fine. My husband was angry and trying to rush to his room. Hold on a second.
What? What is it?
Don't you have something to tell me?
Huh?
How about saying thank you?
What are you talking about? I don't need to thank you for buying something I don't like.
Okay, then. How about saying I'm sorry for your insensitive behavior of telling me to send unwanted things to my parents?
What the hell, Leah? I'm not going to say anything like that.
Since we got married, he has never expressed gratitude or apologies to me. He used to be someone who could casually say those things before we got married. But it seems that he can't say them anymore now that we're married. He must have been hiding his true nature all along. I regret that I didn't see through it. My husband is a divorcee, so my parents were worried when we got married, but they supported my decision and sent me off happily. Now I understand why he got divorced. He lacks consideration for others. He completely underestimates my remote work job. My husband thinks that I'm just lounging around at home, but it's not true. My workload hasn't changed at all. It's just a location change to my house. He doesn't even try to understand that.
I thought you were an obedient woman. Don't disappoint me.
What? What did you say?
I said that you would listen to me, and that's why I married you.
Are you serious? Wow. My husband and I have a 10-year age difference. There are times when he looks down on me. But even with the age difference, we're still a married couple. I don't intend to stay quiet about things I can't compromise on. Well, you know what? I'm disappointed in you too. I might have reached my limit with you.
What do you mean by that?
How did it sound to you? When I answered like that, my husband looked at me and chuckled.
Leah, marriage is about supporting each other and living together. You can't give up after just 3 years of marriage, okay?
He's really the narcissistic type, isn't he? He's probably thinking something like, am I saying something cool? How can you talk about supporting each other? You actually gave up yourself, didn't you? Your last marriage didn't even last 2 years, didn't it?
It was all my ex-wife's fault. You don't know anything.
Well, I know, because I married to you, and I'm sure you have problems. I heard from my husband before the reason for his previous divorce was because his ex-wife cheated on him. He said she didn't even do any housework, and my husband did it all of it. But now I can tell that it's definitely a lie. Because my husband has never done any housework since we got married. He even leaves his dirty clothes lying around. Eats the food I cook while looking at his phone or TV without expressing any gratitude or appreciation for it. He doesn't even wash the dishes himself. Aside from ex-wife's cheating, it's an absolute lie that he did all the housework.
Don't act all high and mighty toward me.
And then my husband kicked the chair hard and ran into his room. I wonder if it's over. I can only imagine a future where we break up. He, who used to be kind, is nowhere to be found. Everything had already been piling up for the past 3 years. The dust had piled up into a mountain, and caused a landslide. The next day, when I woke up, my husband didn't want to face me and had already gone to work. And on this day, an irreparable event happened to us. My phone rang in the evening just after finishing work. It was a call from my mother. When I answered the phone, she told me an unbelievable fact. My father suddenly collapsed at work and was taken to the hospital. My father, who had a pre-existing heart condition, was in critical condition. I quickly hung up the phone, grabbed my car keys, phone, and wallet with my driver's license, and headed towards the entrance. Then I ran into my husband there.
Have you reflected on what happened yesterday?
You're in my way.
Huh?
My father collapsed at work. I'm heading to the hospital right now, so move aside.
I'm not moving. What are you thinking?
Just move aside.
Who should you prioritize here? Me, right?
Then my husband grabbed my shoulders with both hands and shook me roughly.
Your father has your mother, so he'll be fine. You're going to make dinner for me now. Got it?
While he was making what he thought was a kind smile, he peered into my face and laughed. Let go! Let go! I bit my husband's arm as hard as I could.
What are you doing?
This is violence. You started it. You grabbed my shoulders and shook me roughly too. Just move aside, would you?
If you really need to go, then fine. So you were just going to leave me alone like this, huh? Then you don't need to come back. It'll be a relief if I can save some living expenses.
This seemed to be my husband's sore loser line. Yeah, whatever. I don't plan on coming back anyway. Well, take care. I shook up my husband's grip and jumped into the car. Then, my husband stood in front of a car with his arms spread out, as if to stop me.
If you're going to go, you'll have to knock me down first.
This guy is such a narcissist. I had noticed it before, but I never imagined it was this bad. I opened the car window, and my husband looked at me with teary eyes. Take care. I stepped on the gas, and my husband let out a small scream and shrunk to the ground. Ignoring him, I drove to the hospital. When I arrived, my father had regained consciousness. He had a subarachnoid hemorrhage and had to be hospitalized for a while before switching to outpatient care because of the possibility of a second rupture. I explained the situation to my company and took 3 days off to accompany my parents. Then I returned to my husband's house and placed divorce papers on the table.
Leah, what are you trying to do?
You don't want me to come back here anymore, right? So, there's only one thing to do, and that's to get a divorce.
No, I won't accept that.
Huh? It doesn't matter if you accept it or not. I'm going to file for divorce.
Then I'll sue you for damages.
I don't care. As long as I can leave you. By the way, did you have any guests? Then there was a loud noise coming from my husband's room. What was that noise just now?
Huh? I didn't hear anything.
I stood up, and my husband stood in front of the room.
This is my private space.
Ignoring him, I opened the door to the guest room with all my might. What? Oh my God! In front of me was an unfamiliar naked woman.
This is a thief!
This is the first time in my life I've seen a naked thief. Hilarious! Yes, I caught my husband cheating on me right on the spot. I immediately took a photo of the scene as evidence with my smartphone. After I caught him with the evidence, he paid me alimony and we got divorced. My life has been stress-free since the divorce. According to my ex-in-laws, my ex-husband resigned from his company on his own accord. The woman he cheated on me with turned out to be his boss's wife. In fact, she had been seducing him for a while, but they had never crossed the line until that day. However, the day before, my ex-husband had a fight with me and was angry, so he took her to our house to vent his frustration. It was a perfect timing for me, the wife, to witness my husband's first infidelity. Thanks to that, the divorce went smoother than expected. So I'm a little grateful to my ex-husband for that. Of course, I also demanded alimony from his mistress, and she used her husband's money to secretly pay me. But when her husband, my ex-husband's boss, saw the payment history, he confronted her, and the affair became known to my ex-husband's boss. It seems like it became a big rumor within the company, and my ex-husband couldn't bear the atmosphere, so he resigned. He was also almost disowned by his parents, so he had no one to rely on, and is now barely making ends meet, doing odd jobs. I truly believe in karma. After my father was discharged from the hospital, I returned to my parents' house and continued working. I had been trying to stay strong in front of my ex-husband, but I'm honestly quite hurt. I'll keep working hard until the day wounds heals. And when someone nice and caring comes into my life again, I'll take the plunge without fear.
Huh? A part-time job? What kind of poor family are you from? Like this, my mother-in-law Dolores laughed and disrespected my mother by saying such horrible things. I can't ever forgive Dolores for saying such things. How dare she insult my precious, loving mother? I will definitely make Dolores fully regret what she said about my mother, and even making fun of my mother. My name is Maisie. I am 30 years old, and I work in a company. I have been married to my husband Kyle for 2 years now. We first met due to work. My husband is a very honest and diligent worker, and I relied on him a great deal when we had to work together. As we worked together, I became more and more attracted to him, and we grew much closer through our work. We started seeing each other privately and officially began to go out. He planned many wonderful dates for me and took me to many places. I was happy that he took the time to do so much research and planning wonderful dates, and I grew to like him more and more. Then, 2 years into our relationship, he proposed to me, and we decided to get married. I was so happy that he, whom I loved so much, asked me to marry him. After we married, we started living together, and my husband was very kind and supportive, and did his share of the house chores with me. And because of this, it allowed me to concentrate on my work. My husband also cooks whenever he has the time, which is really helpful. My husband and I both work, so thanks to this, we have a very stable lifestyle. And we have a lot of fun while traveling around on our days off. Even after 2 years of marriage, we are still very much in love, and we are both really happy. But of course, there are some problems, even though it has nothing to do with my husband. For me, the issue I have is with my mother-in-law, Dolores. Unfortunately, Dolores does not seem to like me, and she has been picking on me every time I see her since the beginning of my marriage to Kyle.
Oh, Maisie, when are you going to quit your job?
Huh? I have no intention to quit my job.
And why is that? Normally, a wife should become a full-time housewife just to support her husband.
Oh, please! Don't tell me that you make Kyle do some of the house chores. What? Well, we both work, so of course. We share the house chores.
I cannot believe this. I would never allow such a thing.
Dolores shouted from the top of her lungs as she said that. In a panic, my husband flew in and said, "Mom, what's going on?" and came into our conversation. And after understanding what had happened, he says to Dolores, "I was the one who agreed to the idea of sharing the house chores with Maisie. Please, don't butt into our marriage, Mom." And from then on, Dolores stopped talking. But after that, Dolores became even more harsh and strict to me.
I knew that people who skip house chores are not very good at it. You're definitely bothering Kyle by cooking terrible meals, aren't you? Do you even put poison into the meals that you cook, or what?
Whenever I visit my in-laws for Thanksgivings or New Year's and help Dolores with the cooking, she always insults me in the kitchen like that. I thought it was really annoying, but I also thought it was better to show up at family gatherings, so I listened patiently to Dolores' sarcastic comments. Dolores, a coward that she is, would abuse me at times when Kyle and my father-in-law, Don, were not around. I am sure that after my husband had warned her before, she decided it was not a good idea to criticize me in front of him. I tried to ignore everything she was saying, but the harassment from Dolores was slowly taking a toll on my mind. Recently, my husband and I brought souvenirs from our trip to my parents-in-law's house, and Dolores would say something that made me very angry. Don had just gone out and was not home at the time, and my husband had gone to the bathroom. Dolores took advantage of this and began to abuse me verbally, as usual.
You really are a useless wife. Didn't your mother ever teach you how to do any house chores?
My mother taught me how to do house chores while she worked, you know. When I said this, being annoyed at what Dolores had said, she grinned and began to say this to me.
So, your mother wasn't a housewife, huh?
That explains why you do your house chores really terribly.
By the way, what does your mother do for a living?
I was getting angry, but tried to answer Dolores' question anyway. My mother has been working her part-time job. When I was about to continue on with my explanation, Dolores opened her eyes and shouted loudly, "Huh? A part-time job? What kind of poor family are you from?" "Excuse me?" "I didn't think that you were so poor that your mother had to do that. I wonder if she earns a few bucks every day by doing some small, tedious tasks like buttoning eyes onto a doll or something. Well, it's actually probably fitting that she's your mother. Well, it sucks to have a poor family like yours." Like this, Dolores laughed at my family and my mother and looked down on her. I couldn't forgive Dolores for insulting my precious mother, and it was then that I came up with a plan. I would definitely make Dolores regret for what she said about my mother and for making fun of my family. A month later, there was a family reunion and everyone gathered at my parents-in-law's house. This time, everyone gathered to celebrate my father-in-law's sister, Linda's birthday. Since Dawn had inherited their house from my late grandfather-in-law, it was easier for everyone to gather at Dawn and Dolores's house than at Linda's house, so it had become the place for all the relatives to gather. I had heard that Dolores truly respected and admired Linda very much. I wanted to take advantage of that and make Dolores feel embarrassed. "Maisie, my husband's sister is here today, so please behave and don't be rude." "Yes, I understand." Dolores was more enthusiastic than usual and took the initiative in preparing for Linda's birthday party. And because of this, Dolores was too busy to even bully me like she would normally. It was most likely that Dolores was more interested in making sure Linda's birthday was celebrated by many people. Then the preparations were over, and Linda and her husband and all the relatives came over to Dawn and Dolores's house. "Oh, Linda, happy birthday. This is your birthday present. Here you go." "Oh my, what a wonderful bag. Thank you, Dolores." Dolores looked really happy to be thanked by Linda like that. What Dolores gave Linda as her present was a luxurious brand bag. I greeted Linda after Dolores greeted her. "A long time no see, Linda. I'm Maisie, Kyle's wife." "Oh my, long time no see, dear. How have you been?" "I've been well, and every day living with Kyle has been fun. Thank you." "Happy birthday, Linda. If you'd like, please accept this birthday present from me." As I said this, I gave Linda my present, which I prepared for her. It was a leather card case. Seeing this, Dolores interrupted our conversation and began to panic. "Oh, Maisie, what kind of present are you giving to Linda?" "Excuse me?" "It's rude to give such a no-brand cheap thing as a present to Linda. You better hurry up and put it away now." Dolores raised her voice like that, which took me by surprise.
"Hey, what are you talking about, Mom? It's too much to talk like that about something that Maisie went to the trouble of preparing."
"Kyle, please just shut up for today. It's Linda's birthday, so you have to give her something more appropriate." Like that, Dolores' selfish outbursts did not stop. Then, Linda began to say something that made Dolores shut her mouth. "Dolores, please shut your mouth." "Huh?" Saying that, Linda is taking a good look at the leather card case I gave her. This is very nice and a really good quality. As a leather goods buyer for many years, I have seen many other products, including brand name products, but this one is so carefully made and the design is so beautiful and exquisite. Who made this, Maisie? That person must be a very skilled craftsperson. I gave a huge grin, since I knew that this was going along with my whole plan. And then I proudly said this in front of Dolores and everyone else. This piece was made by my mother. Oh my, your mother? That is just amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sure that my mother would be very happy knowing that you're happy with it. Will you tell me your mother's name? My mother's name is Alberta Shaw. What? Could it be that your mother is that famous leather craftswoman, Mrs. Shaw? Yes, that's right. Linda looked at me all surprised as her eyes widened. I never thought I'd be able to get a piece from Mrs. Shaw. And I never would have guessed that my nephew's wife is her daughter. Wow, what a tremendous connection. Thank you so much. I will take very good care of this card case. Oh, no. I'm just really glad that you are happy with it. Dolores watched the conversation between Linda and I, and gradually her face was turning pale. Then Linda shifted her eyes to Dolores. Dolores, what were you doing earlier on?
Huh?
You were quite rude to Maisie, weren't you?
Oh, no.
Maisie, does Dolores always behave like this towards you? Since Linda had asked me that question, I nodded strongly as I answered. It seems that Dolores here does not like me at all, and she always picks on me, her own daughter-in-law, and lashes out at me in a terrible manner. What's more, she has also insulted my mother and my family by calling her poor. When I said this, all my relatives looked at Dolores really coldly. Oh, Dolores, what a trivial thing you're doing, bullying your own daughter-in-law.
Oh, no. That's all a misunderstanding. I don't bully or pick on Maisie.
Well, I know you're lying. You look really awkward and you have shifty eyes. I can easily imagine it from your attitude you just had towards Maisie just now. And I'm just really disappointed to hear that you're actually doing terrible things. I wouldn't be happy at all to receive a present from someone like that. So, I'll just give this back to you. Saying this, Linda returned her present, which she received from Dolores earlier on. And seeing how everything had happened like this, Dolores was really disappointed at the situation and at how Linda, whom Dolores had really respected, has rejected her present. And both Dawn and Kyle were outraged when they learned that Dolores was bullying me. Hey, what's the meaning of this, Dolores? Oh, Mom, come on. Please, give me a break. Didn't you learn your lesson the last time I warned you? Dolores was blamed by everyone around her all at once, and she left the party quickly as if to escape from the situation. After that, my mind was in peace since Dolores left and Linda's birthday party went on and we all had a great time. Later, when Dolores came back home, she was supposedly scolded by Dawn. My father-in-law then told me,
If you ever get picked or bullied by Dolores again, I have already told her that I would divorce her if it happens again the next time. So don't hesitate and report to me, okay?
My husband also said,
The next time it happens, please make sure to tell me, honey.
and after that, Dolores came to me and said, I'm really sorry for being so horrible to you all this time. She also apologized for insulting my mother. I still haven't forgiven Dolores about what she said and what she did. But since Dawn and Kyle are both on my side, and that Dawn would divorce her if she ever bullies me again, well, I'll never know if she might bully me secretly like she did. I'm just going to let things play out for now and how Dolores would act. And now I will continue to live happily with my husband, getting along with him as I do normally. I think Dolores has dug her own grave in front of someone she respects as a result of bullying Maisie. And as a result, Linda rejected Dolores, and I felt better that Dolores got what she deserved. I'm also glad that Maisie had Dawn and Kyle on her side. I hope Maisie and her husband continue to get along and live happily ever after. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.